Okay, Marty Quick here with Angler One. I'm going to touch base on some of the baits I've been going through to take on my 14-day voyage. Again, this is all to promote charity for Heroes in the Water and for the Boys and Girls Club. There'll be raffle tickets online. That's first and foremost. But now that you listen to that, and all the things that are going to be in that wonderful raffle will be on my website as well, KWICK graphics.com. Okay. So for some of these baits that I'm taking with me, of course I got my handy-dandy little rubberized net. I got long little scissor clamp deal that, I don't know what you got, medical skizzers, okay? So you got those. And then I'm going to go through some of the oddball ones that most people wouldn't use. This is something actually, these are spoons you get from the Great Lakes. They have a great big hook on them. And they're meant for the trout and stuff. But I actually like to use them down here, and I put a little tube on them. And when you're really slow, they waddle, and this thing just, like you see a kite waving like this in the water, man. This thing just goes wobble, 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 wobble. You get it. So I always bring a couple of those because they just got amazing action. They got a big hook on it, so a pike or a muskie can even hook up with this. And I'm sorry, but that is kind of a neat little deal for the way it waddles through the water. Oh, it's a beautiful looking thing. Caught a few fish on it. I just started using them this year, so I don't have a whole lot of information on how they're actually going to work in the big scheme of things, but they look beautiful to me. All right, something else I do is I actually pre-buy. I buy separately some Berkley jigs, and then I buy the skirts separate, and then I use a little ZMan rubber. And because those are so elastic, when this thing is out in that water and it's doing its thing, when you drop this to the bottom, what's great about these ZMans is they're very buoyant. So when this drops to the bottom, it sits like that. And it gives it that stays up in the air with that jig in the bottom, and that fish can easily pick that up. So it's a really, I think, a killer way to do it. Again, I purchase the jig separate, the skirt separate, and then I buy the ZMan package. And I can make 5 lures like that for, what is that? See, I buy 1, 2, 3 items for a little over $12. And if you bought a jig similar to this, they're like $4 a piece. And I made 5. So I'm saving a little bit of money, creating something that I actually like to use a little bit better with that floating ZMan bait on there. I use some more ZMan baits for, working looking like a worm. You can use some where they have these fando tails like that, and I have some where I actually use it reverse, and I put that little fan tail up by the jig head, and I work it like that. So that's still, it's a horse apiece. I'm gonna practice with both. I have more ZMan baits. I've got these set up with number 5 hooks. You can easily put them through. That tail jigs through the water so nice, and they are very elastic, and again, very buoyant. If you put a little bit thinner shank hook on here, number 4, number 5, this will still sit up in the surface and float. So what's really cool is you can tweak this, and it sits there on the surface, and it just does a great job. So this is a little bit heavier hook, so it will slowly sink, but it has that slow, drop with the leader on it. So it's kind of a cool setup. I do have a few of those where they're weighted as well, so I can drop it down. Again, that ZMan bait will sit there in the bottom, and boom, pike and stuff can hit this, and it just stays there. But what's cool, again, is when this hits the bottom, this bait sits like this. So a fish can easily go down and suck that peppy up and take it to their hole. And then you set the hook in their face. Another thing I do, these are great big shad case plastics. It's a pretty soft shad. This will get hammered. This will go to mincemeat the second a pike or thing hits it. They're pretty big. But I really love tweaking these on the surface, and they're so soft. They really glide, and you can use them like a glide bait. And I can put this right through the weeds pretty decently, and it does pretty well. But it's so soft that when a fish bites or clamps on at all, that barb is totally exposed. Granted, you'll go through them fast if they hit it, because those toothy mongrels tear apart a lure. So there's that. I do love Berkley baits. These are about the right consistency, again, for working through the weed lines and getting to some dense areas. And again, they're soft enough where if a fish bites, you press down, that barb is really exposed, but yet you can pull it through the weeds decently. I usually rip off the tail. A lot of people want that tail on there, but when I'm casting and I want accuracy and I want to let it right in that little open spot on a pack of weeds, this is ideal for me to get it straight. And that paddle's on there, cuts wind a little differently, and it goes all over, and you get a little more distance out of it if it doesn't have that paddle. I love part of the paddle on this one. I do like some of that there, but too much to me is what they put on there, so I take a little off. here's a bait by Arty on the tackle. This one is pretty cool. I took actually the hooks out of a frog, and this lure is actually meant to go this way, but I pushed a 2-prong hook through this bad boy and set it so the paddle's upright. So when this thing comes through the water, it actually waddles left and right like this, like that. It waddles that way, and then this paddle goes flop, 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 flop on the surface. This to me is going to be a killer bait. Now granted, weedless, no, but when something tries to attack it from either side, it is going to get a barb. So this is going to be a great one for me to use along weed lines and the long edges. I'm going to try to spade the crap out of that. Whopper plopper. I've seen people outfish me with a whopper plopper. I don't know if it's the bevel and that back case or the back prong that throttles through the water, but this thing is very patterned, and that the way that thing goes through the water, it makes a heck of a plopping sound. That's why it's called the whopper plopper. So there's a bunch of different kinds and sizes, not kinds, but colors and sizes. These are expensive, but from what I've seen, they're a darn good bait, and they should hold up pretty good. So I'm excited to use this now that a guy outfished me with it. I love glide baits. I love walking the dog. This has got three treble hooks on it, so if you get hooked up, you're going to get hooked up solid. It's got a couple BBs in it. It makes some good noise in the water. That's a good one. I love, again, glide baits. This is going to be my musky go-to. I'm mainly going to use this for when I want to do... Oh! Oh, do I got blood? Just a little blood. Okay, so anyhow, they got hooks. You got to watch these things. So anyhow, hooks. Yeah, the glide bait there. Yeah, that's hooks. I do have a couple other musky baits. Joe Booker, thank you so much. I got one of your bucktails. I like it. This isn't a very big one, but it's a darn good go-to. And I got a little Mets number 5 out of Antigo, Wisconsin. That's where these bad boys are made. And it's pretty rusty, pretty old, but this thing has caught a lot of pike and a lot of muskie for me. Not very big ones yet on it, but hey, it provides. We're going to go back this way again. And another goofy thing, I love to throw that spoon, and this is a big old abnormal hook on a spoon with a big long tail. Okay, I throw this, and this waddles in that water so nice, and this tail just goes plop, 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 plop. It looks beautiful. You got the flash, you got a big long tail. It looks amazing. I've not caught anything on it yet because I've only cast it out like 3 times since I put it together this spring. We're going to try to kill something with that. Bass nut lures. He makes some good looking crawfish. I like to jig these around. Sometimes I put a weight up front and do the weedless again with these types of hooks. This weedless hook with a triple barb on it. Nasty. This is a 12-inch worm. I nipped off a little bit off the front end. But down in Kentucky on the big lakes, 10 and 12-inch worms are killer for the 18 to 20-inch bass. And all the ones that are small, too, because they don't know how big their mouth is. So this is a really cool setup. I love purple, and it's purple and a kind of a pumpkin green, they call it. I don't know if pumpkin's ever green, except when it's growing and it's new, whatever. I got a couple set up like that. I got one with a rocker jig on it, so it can hit the bottom. That thing is still flexible to move around. You can pop that pretty cool. I do love spinnerbaits. On the Wisconsin River, where I'm going to be going, I use black and I use white. It is a dark stained body of water, and I think black sometimes gives it a different presence, but I also love willow leaf blades. That's these long, elongated ones. The circular ones I don't like as much, and I don't know if it's because maybe this resembles a minnow flashing or what, but to me, I've always had better luck on willow leaf blades as opposed to the round ones, the spoonbills. So, with all that being said, I'd switch between white and black according to the time of day. I use white, oddly enough, when it's bright out. I know it's Wisconsin River, it's stained, whatever. But, and I convert to dark, actually, when it's a little bit darker out. Which, any other bait, I wouldn't do that. But the spinner baits, that's my thing. Gotta make sure you have your grippers, you get any of those toothy mongrels. You get this in their jaws, you clamp down. It's pretty sanitary for them. Doesn't hurt them too much, and it allows you to prop it open the mouth a little bit and, take the bait out with ease. So, and I got a little weight scale on here. It's only up to 8 pounds, so hopefully it won't get anything bigger than 8 pounds. But I got a couple of bigger spinner baits, again, both willow leaves, as you can see, and these I'm going to try to pop around out there too. So, with all that, you've got a good general idea. Lots of extra leaders because I always snap or get bit off. And don't forget your Leatherman, because that's for getting the hooks out of your hand when you're dumb. With that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. That is the majority of the tackle I'm going to take with me and what I'm going to be using along the Wisconsin River. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully that gave you some insights into my crazy... Oh, forgot about these guys. Hey, whoa, how exciting. the Rapala DT1. This thing is an erratic little killer. Musky, smallmouth, northern bass, just fish. My fish bite it. And this thing, it rattles back and forth, and it gets erratic depending on your speed on the water. And it's right on the surface waddling back and forth, very similar to the salmo bug. This is a very erratic little guy, and you can cast the salmo bug 100 miles. No kidding. You want to get there, this will get there. This one's not bad, but again, this is a really great bait, and it gets a lot of species of fish. Does great. So I'm excited to use these. This is going to be for my, hopefully, a smallmouth killer. This only goes on about 3-4 feet. And I'm going to hopefully kick the butt with that out there too. So hopefully a lot of these baits will provide fish out there this year. We'll see what Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll chat soon and see you on the river.